What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. This week we have a few things to unpack. First thing, everyone's talking about that new Netflix show called Cuties or whatever. I've been seeing a lot of this, especially on Twitter and YouTube. Everybody knows what it actually is. They're basically supposed to be banning it. I don't know. I know they're in a bunch of hot water over it. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we get something done and we get rid of it. We don't need any this type of grooming or whatever, but it's gotten bad to where a lot of people defend this kind of stuff, and that's pretty sad. But hopefully it gets taken care of like it should be. The next thing I want to move to is I'm into like the weird and the paranormal and strange mysteries kind of thing. And I've watched a few shows that are kind of like that here lately. I binge watched a show called Into the Unknown with this guy named Cliff Simon or whatever. He's your rugged adventure, older adventure type guy, and it was okay. Wasn't that bad. Although it reminded me a lot of like Destination Truth, and where they go out and try to collect evidence, but then nothing really happens. That's basically what this show's like. It just shows him going around, running around, trying to collect evidence on a cryptid or ghost or something. Nothing really happens. So, I mean, if you're in that kind of show, good luck with that. The other two are more like I don't know. I watched both seasons of The Unexplained with the host being William Shatner. I love Bill. He's quite a character. He's funny. And of course, he will always be Captain Kirk. The Unexplained is a good show. It's decent. I like it. Now he's done a couple other shows like this before where he's played the host. I don't think they went over as big, but this one's not bad. This one's pretty good. And I like shows where they do like they tell more than just one thing, like they do a series of mysteries in one show or one take episode or whatever. Same thing with another show called Into the Unknown. It's the same way. It tells you about some mysterious phenomenon. Several of them in one episode. It's really good too. If you like all that kind of stuff, I definitely recommend you check out The Unexplained and Beyond the Unknown. Really good shows. I'm actually trying to catch up on another one right now called What on Earth, which is another. It's not exactly the same. It's a little bit different. They're using satellites to look upon the Earth and find anomalies or whatever, and then they try to explain what's going on. So it's a little bit different, but it's similar in some ways. It's decent too, but that Beyond the Unknown and The Unexplained, those are really good. You should check them out if you're into the weird, strange mysteries or whatever. Banjo Tooie. I just got done playing this not too long ago. Working on a couple other ones. Banjo Tooie. This is a sequel to Banjo Kazooie. which was actually not that bad. It was a Mario style type game. You know, you go around, you collect your stars or whatever to get into other worlds, and collect certain items in the world, and then defeat certain bosses, you know, to collect these stars to open up more worlds. And it's similar, except for it's puzzle pieces instead of stars. And of course, you got a set of tasks to do in every world. Banjo Kazooie was okay. I was alright with this one. The sequel, though, this Banjo Tooie, which is the sequel, not as good. It was similar, but they changed a lot of stuff. Like, they made the puzzle pieces like they're alive and I don't know. It was really a little bit strange. I didn't care for it as much. I don't recommend it because it wasn't nearly as good as the first one. But you're more welcome to try it out. You might like it. You might like it. I didn't. But that's my thoughts on Banjo Tooie. It wasn't that good. The last show I'm going to talk about is called Letter to the King. I watched it, binge watched it. The main story is about some black kid, comes from a different, there's like 3 different types of kingdoms. He's kind of a refugee from the southern kingdom, which is always at war with the 2 northern kingdoms. But apparently a prince from one of the 2 northern kingdoms went in and wiped out a bunch of the southern kingdom, so-called what they call shamans, who have magic abilities, and only certain people have these magic abilities. Well, this black kid that the story revolves around, he's basically a shaman's son. He's the last surviving one. So he has shaman blood in him. He's supposed to have these magical abilities. And throughout the entire series, everybody's trying to chase him down and kill him. Especially this prince. There's this prophecy where supposedly this dark entity takes over a person and turns him evil, and this darkness is supposed to come back after so many thousands of years and fight this good entity, which is the light, and they're supposed to have a big battle. Typical prophecy stuff. A lot of the group of the characters, they're all like, they remind you kind of a little bit like a Goonie style, like Goonie kids, sort of. That's the vibe I got from it. It was a decent show. It wasn't bad. I usually don't like teeny bopper shows, you know, where it's a bunch of teenagers and crap. I'm really not into that kind of crap, like CW kind of crap. But this wasn't that bad. It was all right. There were only 2 things in the entire show that irritated me. Spoiler alert. The first one is the fact that the girl that he's traveling with, she actually is the one that has the magical power and has the light ability, which makes no sense because the one in the prophecy that's supposed to have this power is the one that has shaman's blood in him, which is the boy, the main character. So that made entirely no sense why she would have the power. But all of a sudden she's got the power towards the end of the series. The second thing that irritated me is the entire series is led up to have this huge battle between light and dark. And it was nothing. It was like the darkness pushed on the light, and then the light pushed back and enveloped the darkness. And that was the end. There was no big fight scene or anything like that. It was lame. It was very lame, the big final battle. But otherwise, the show was pretty good. Check it out if you like that kind of stuff, fairy tale kind of stuff. Not bad. Last thing is your date tip. Stay away from sites like eHarmony, Match.com, any kind of site where they want you to pay monthly for their BS. You should never pay to talk to someone that's retarded. It's ignorant. Avoid them sites because half the time they can't even match the person up right. They'll say, oh, this person is perfect for you, when it's someone that's like 40 years older than you, and then, has no job. They're a crackhead or some crap like that. It's retarded. Don't ever go on them sites. They're terrible for you. I've never done eHarmony or Match.com, but I know people who have, and they've always gotten shitty results. So don't ever do them. And that's your date tip for this week. And let's get on to your B-rated movie review. Alright, Movieholics, this week is Action Week. I got two action movies here that are Jean-Claude Van Damme action movies. Haven't done any of his yet, and like a lot of action stars, he's got a series of them. So let's get started on his. First thing you probably maybe not know is that Jean-Claude Van Damme actually did some bad guy roles before he became like the good guy in most of his movies. So we're going to go over a couple of his bad guy roles. The first one we're going to talk about is called No Retreat, No Surrender. It was done in 1986. And it had the cheesy, campy, action feel of the 80s. This movie is basically about this kid who idolizes Bruce Lee and wants to become a martial arts champion. It starred Kurt McKinney as Jason. He's the main character. He's the kid who who idolizes Bruce Lee. Jean-Claude Van Damme, of course, is in it, but he plays like a thug. He doesn't really have a whole lot of talking until at the end of the movie. But yeah, he's playing like this Russian thug or whatever, who's supposed to be a martial arts champion or something in Russia. Apparently he's working for, I guess, a Russian mob. And they're trying to buy out, I guess, or get rid of certain dojos for whatever reason. It doesn't really explain. But at the beginning of the movie, they go and attack Jason's father, which is the LA dojo. His father is the sensei there, and Jean-Claude Van Damme helps the mob go in there and beat the crap out of him, tells him he needs to move or sell or whatever. So they do. The father does. Jason don't want to give up on his dream of becoming a martial arts champion, so he continues to train, even though his father doesn't want him to. Their fights or spats are kind of funny because you're just like, yeah, that's really not how it would go, but whatever. Typical cheesy 80s. Apparently, it's easy to make instant friends, best friends in the 80s, because there's this black kid named RJ that sees him moving in and instantly becomes his best friend. Like, don't even question it, you know, he's just automatically his best friend. It's like they've known each other for years or whatever, which is kind of is really cheesy, because you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. But anyways, RJ becomes his best friend. Uh, RJ's getting picked on by this really big fat kid who apparently is the popular kid, which makes no sense because that doesn't happen in real life. But whatever. Apparently he's got money. He's a big fat rich kid, and he picks on RJ. Well, Jason gets involved. His father and him fight about him fighting. Blah blah blah. He tells him to take his crap out of the garage, karate crap out of the garage, get rid of it. But RJ finds this abandoned house where Jason trains secretly. He eventually has images of Bruce Lee, and then Bruce Lee trains him. You know, the ghost of Bruce Lee or whatever going on in Jason's head. Eventually sees this video of this guy who becomes a champion, kickboxer champion, or karate champion on TV in the Seattle dojo, which is where they're living now, is Seattle. So he asks RJ about, you know, if he knows how to get him into the Seattle dojo. RJ says no problem, he can hook him up. So they go to the Seattle dojo, and everything seems to be going okay, except for the guy who runs the place, the champion he saw on TV, he's not there. Instead, he runs into the fat kid, which is a part of the Seattle dojo. And of course, he tells them all a bunch of crap, and then they start picking on Jason and RJ. So they leave. He goes to this party. Apparently, he has a girlfriend who is the Seattle dojo's champion, the guy who owns the place. It's his sister. Well, he doesn't know that. She never told him, but apparently they get in a fight because he goes to this birthday party to see her, and then the fat kid and all the guys from the Seattle dojo go picking on him. So he leaves there. Later on in the movie, the New York guys show up again. This time they want to take out the Seattle dojo. And Jean-Claude Van Damme is there, and they decide to have a match or whatever, and whoever wins, you know, gets the Seattle dojo or whatever. Jean-Claude Van Damme comes in there and beats the holy crap out of all the Seattle guys, and then they told him that anybody could try to beat him if they wanted to. So Jason decides he's going to get revenge, and he goes back. He jumps into the ring, and then him and Jean-Claude Van Damme have it out, and they beat the crap out of each other. And then he finally beats Jean-Claude, and that's the end of the movie. It's not a bad movie. It's really cheesy and 80s campy though. Jean-Claude Van Damme really doesn't have much speaking parts in it, except for towards the end when they're fighting. It's probably one of his very first roles. He plays a thug. But it's a decent movie for what it was. Like I said, there's just a couple of scenes in there that was just, you know, it's ridiculous. Like getting the instant best friend, and you know, the fat kid's the one that's the popular kid. You know, it's just kind of ridiculous. I think the director was actually trying to make fun of that crap when he did this. But it was fun, a fun watch for cheesy and campy if you like that kind of thing. I definitely give it 2 thumbs up. Because there are some comical stuff in it. as far as it didn't really have any special effects martial arts film. So I can't rate it on that. But the acting was okay. It was decent for what it was. It wasn't like superb or anything. I give it a 3. It was decent. As far as the story, the story was, honestly, I have to give it a 2 because the story was actually kind of lame. It made no sense. Why was the mob after these dojos? It doesn't ever explain. And then all of a sudden he gets better from training from Bruce Lee's ghost was actually imaginary in his head. That makes no sense either, but whatever. So the story was 2. Overall, I give this story, or overall I give this movie a 3. I mean, it was decent because it was a cheesy, campy, fun action flick from the 80s. So, other than that, it was decent. That's it. It was okay. It wasn't bad. So the next one we're going to talk about, he played a bad guy in it too. It was done in 1988, and it was called Black Eagle. Now this started Shao Kosugi, or Kosugi, not sure exactly how to pronounce his name, but he's the guy who did the Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, and Ninja 3, The Domination, which I already done reviews on. You have to go back to see those. This also started Doran Clark. She's the agent that helps him along. But Jean-Claude Van Damme plays another thug, sorta. You actually like Jean-Claude Van Damme's character better than you do the Japanese dude. Anyways, it's kind of a lame story. Basically, some missile goes down in this plane into the water. Somewhere over, I forget what, Malau or some crap like that is the name of the place. Anyways, the plane goes down over there across seas. The American government sends in, or was it British? I'm not sure if it was British or American, but they sent, I think it was American. They send an agent already over there, but apparently the agent gets killed. And they can't find anyone else. They need the best agent ever, blah, 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 blah. So they ask this Japanese dude to go over there and to trick him into going over there because he's supposed to have time with his kids or whatever. They send his kids over there too on the mission. And they send this woman over there, Doran Clark, to watch him, the CIA agent. And of course, the Japanese dude, Shao, he's just, what the hell, man? So he goes over there to spend time with his kids. And at that time, he's got to do a mission. He's got to collect this data box or whatever from this missile. It has something to do with laser sighting or some new type of laser technology with laser guiding missiles. So he's got to go under the water and get this box off this laser guiding missile or whatever. But at the same time, the Russian government is after it too. This is where Jean-Claude Van Damme comes in. He's with a group of people that's trying to find it as well. They have a few run-ins. They run into each other a few times. Jean-Claude Van Damme he gets into like a little relationship with a woman on the boat. So it doesn't make him too much. He doesn't really come off really that much of a bad guy or whatever. You kind of feel for his character in this movie, even though he doesn't really have a lot of speaking roles in it. Um, anyways, the kids and the woman, they get kidnapped. One of the kids escapes, uh, which, you know, you saw that coming. You knew they were going to go after the kids. So you have this priest helping out Shao, or whatever, his character, and they eventually find the woman and his other son. They get them out of there, where they were being held captive, and then Shao and the priest show up on this boat to stop the Russians or whatever, because they have another part of the box that they need. So they go on there and they blow up the boat and destroy the Russians or whatever. Jean-Claude Van Damme and Shao get in a little bit of a fight, but Jean-Claude Van Damme tries to save his girlfriend, and instead he gets killed by getting pulled into the rudders of the boat before it blows up. So it's kind of messed up, but at the same time, it's just like the whole time you're hoping Jean-Claude Van Damme will just knock the shit out of the Japanese dude and take off, you know. But it was pretty cheesy and campy. Yeah, it wasn't really all that great. The acting. Let's go with the acting first. The acting, I would say it was bare minimal. You know, it was okay. I give it a 2 because it wasn't really all that great of acting. You know, Jean-Claude Van Damme has very little speaking parts in this. You know, he has a few speaking parts, but the rest of it's, yeah, it was, yeah. As far as action, or you know, special effects kind of stuff, wasn't really a whole lot of special effects. You know, it's more of not a whole lot of things blowing up or anything. I give it a, you know, it was decent enough to get by. So as far as special effects or anything like that, I give it a 3. It was decent. The story was lame as hell. I mean, it just, the whole time, you know, they just gotta have this Japanese dude. He's the best. He's got to go in there and no one else can do it. You know, it's just, it was just a little over the top and a little annoying. And of course, the whole American-Russian thing, you know, is they're both fighting, trying to get to this missile laser guidance system and crap. I don't know. It was kind of lame. I give it a 2. The story wasn't really good. And then last but not least, overall, I don't know. It was watchable, but it really wasn't all that great. You know, I'm gonna have to give it a 2 on this. It wasn't very good. It was okay, but it wasn't really. It didn't quite make a 3 for me. It just wasn't there as far as being decent. It was more of a yeah. So I definitely give this like a thumbs up and a thumbs down. I mean, it was an okay action flick, but it wasn't really up to standard as far as being really decent. It was just okay. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week as far as action films go. If you have any suggestions of any type of gems of movies that I might have missed, older movies that might actually be pretty good, please leave them down in the comment section down below, and I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. If you have any thoughts about anything I said earlier in the video, please leave them down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anyways, that's all I have for you this week. Until next week, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you just been told.